Hello and welcome back. Our next value is going to be the value of boundaries. Now, that's a very interesting value because I think we're living in a time where we're either working from home, we are stressed out, we're doing so many things, we're trying to be all things to all people, and we have set no boundaries. So I think the value of boundaries is going to be so important because we all need to not only accept other people's boundaries, but we need to set clear boundaries for others. See, if people know what is expected of them, you are more likely to get it. And that is also very important because boundaries is a word that many people do not like because they think it stifles them. But some may feel that having parameters puts stifling limitations on them or shuts down their creativity. Well, it can happen, of course, but really, when you understand boundaries properly, it's quite the opposite. Because the reality is that setting boundaries for ourselves brings order to our lives and is necessary if we want to be healthy. You know, the need to know how and when to say no is so important for many of you because there's many people of you out there. I talk to them regularly, and you now see more and more emails coming through at nighttime, like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. People are still sending emails, and you wonder, what are they doing with their lives? You know, but if they had a 9 to 5 jobs, they leave work at 5 o'clock and they're done with it. So how come at 10 o'clock they're still sending emails? Because there is people who push work onto them, not knowing how much they've done or how much they can do, and the people who keep doing that work and keep accepting it because they are scared of their job. They need to impress the boss. They need to make sure that all their work gets done diligently, and they want to take care of it all precisely, but it all takes time. And yet at 10 o'clock at night, they're still working away, not taking care of themselves or their family or their own health and well-being. That means you don't respect yourself. Because if you respected yourself, you would say no. And I don't mean say no, get lost. No, you can say no in a beautiful way. When people give you work to do, for example, and you've already got plenty, you can say, I would love to do that, but you give me this and you give me that, and now you give me the next as well. Which one is a priority? Because I cannot complete them all in the time I've got available. So which one do you want done first? And it is just to show other people that they've given you too much work. And sometimes it's laziness by your bosses or superiors that I'll get them to do it, and they maybe have time themselves. But the reality is so many people are now working longer hours at home than they would ever have done because they see people around them losing their job, even in their own companies, and they don't want to be the next. So there is a lot of fear and anxiety and depression and stress on people. But when we set clear boundaries, when our superiors and bosses and colleagues also have clear boundaries and they know ours, that they can't overstep them, that will make a big difference in your lives. Makes a big difference in your work ethics and also in the time you work. You need time, you need self-care, you need time for your family, you need all that other time, but you certainly don't need to be working still at 10, 11 o'clock at night when you normally wouldn't have done that. I hope that makes it a little bit clear, but setting them for others and communicating them clearly allows them to know what is expected and what is expected of them, as well as to know what they can expect from you. So, and as I said, especially working at home, and no, it's not okay to still work at 10 o'clock at night. Yes, there could be an exception that you want to do something, but it is not because you have to, you're forced into this. And even if you want to, you need to take some time off. So if people are to feel safe and know where they are expected to be, they must have boundaries. If the boundaries are not clearly marked, they may be crossed without the offender even knowing them, even without them even knowing that they've overstepped the line. Yeah. And creating boundaries is more than just making rules. It is setting up a system where we can experience success. Now, if you think about a freeway, a highway, or a motorway, whatever you look at it, they've got lines, and the multi-lanes, they've got lines. And those lines you can see as boundaries because you shouldn't go outside them. But even within them, there is a little bit of room to move, but not a lot. But at least these are clear boundaries that a car comes alongside you. They know they should be safe because they've got their own lines. So You can compare it a bit like that. Stay in your lane is a great way to say it, but stay in your lane, get your boundaries out, and make sure that people know them, and also you know theirs, because how often have you overstepped their boundaries? And that's not only at work, it could be in values. People set boundaries with values, and there is areas that people and values that they have that they won't compromise. So don't try to push people in them either. It is in their own families, whether it's the boundaries in your own families, that your children and your spouse, as well as you. There is things that you should not do and things you cannot do, but also explain that clearly within your family. Where are the boundaries? Like cursing in the house. For many people, that is a no-no. That's a boundary you said. We will not have any. I don't see or hear what you're cursing at home, at work, but at home, this is a no-no. We set these clear examples and clear boundaries for others. It's just one simple example that just came to mind, but you get a picture. See, boundaries give us the ability to set the standard for how we will be treated by others, because we can't accept to others to treat us better if we don't set any clear boundaries and treat others with respect either. See, we need to respect ourselves first. I've talked about it in the value of respect, but this is also part of our boundaries. So if we tell people clearly, we don't have to be harsh or angry, but we don't have to be that if they know our boundaries. And when they overstep, I said, listen, I said I would not work after 5 o'clock at night yet, but 7 o'clock you send us another email. What is the real problem? This will have to wait until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning when I'm fully available again. But I've said this already. These are my boundaries. I've got other priorities, is the word I'm looking for my nighttime. I've said I'm going to spend time with my children, reading books or watching a movie with them. So no, I cannot do that tonight. But I will do this first thing tomorrow. I hope that'll be okay. Some simple little, you don't have to shout and scream. I just told them I wouldn't work after 5. No, yeah, just say, keep calm and just send them an email back that you will do that first thing tomorrow morning, because as you know, I've done all my work today. And sometimes there is an emergency, we get that, but it cannot become a habit. And if it becomes a habit, it's just as much your fault as the person pushing it on you all the time. And there's certain personalities, especially the ones who want no conflict, the ones who want to hug everybody, the ones who want to be everything to everybody. It's so easy to say yes, 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 and they pile it up, they need to say no. People who are kinesthetic as well in the learning styles, they also don't know how to say no. They do what other people tell them, and before they know it, they're stressed out, and nobody cares because, I don't know why you're stressed out. You just have to do your work. Yeah, and some. The power to say no is very powerful in the best possible way. Learn that. So in short, knowing our boundaries gives us a clear vision of what to do and the freedom to do it. I hope you get that. Now, of course, we're giving you 2 benefits of setting and staying within boundaries, clear boundaries. And the first one is you will set people up to succeed. It's as simple as that. Parameters enable people to achieve important things because they know what the goals are and have a clear idea of how to achieve them. See, that's also a way of setting boundaries. Knowing exactly where people are, clear communication, and question and answer. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what my expectations are of you? And is that within the boundaries that we set for each other? You don't have to ask that question, but you'll get that. And then the second one is, people will respect you and treat you with fairness because they know you are fair. And that's what it is. It's about fairness a lot as well. That's a benefit. Now, some characteristics of a person who sets boundaries clearly is these people leave enough room in the parameters to allow some freedom and approach the idea of setting parameters in a positive manner. So that gives, boundaries are not set completely in stone, but sometimes you need to have a little bit of flexibility because things happen. Stuff happens in our lives, especially when we're working from home. So we need to respect that from the people who are working at home, if you're a boss or if you're in control, or a supervisor or somebody who needs something by 4 o'clock, and stuff happens. So we need to recognize that. And the second one is, these people respect the parameters others have set for them and do their best to meet others' expectations. See, and that's it. There is boundaries and parameters, and if we can't make them or meet them, then, let's communicate this clearly and timely. But that's what is people who set clear boundaries. They have those. So then two action steps you can take to set better boundaries and become more aware of boundaries is when you are in authority, there is two areas, of course. When you're in authority, be aware of what is happening daily and be willing to act consistently. That's very, very important. See, you must have a commitment to uphold what is right and true. See, it's not do as I say and not do it, but do as I do. So you need to be that example, be the change you want to see in the world. Well, you as a leader, you need to be that example, and don't tell them to one day you tell them one thing, another day you tell them a totally different thing. You need to be clear and concise every single day. Then the second one is when you have someone in authority over you. So this is for you who has a supervisor, a boss, or a superior, whatever it looks like. But be honest and ask for assistance if you are having trouble understanding or meeting expectations. Now that is very important. I talked into it already. If you don't understand what is expected of you, ask questions. So many people just walk away and then do something. They can't get things done because it's too much of it, or they do the wrong thing and then they get into trouble. No, if you don't understand it, there is no stupid question. Sometimes people say that it's better to be a fool for 5 seconds than to remain a fool for the entire day or your entire life, really. But I mean, I hope this helps you, because ask questions. And if you are struggling with work because stuff happened or something, communicate effectively and clearly again and timely that, I need help. I can't get this finished we said we finish this by 4 o'clock. I just can't, it's now already 2 o'clock and I can't get this finished by 4 o'clock. Is there an extension possible, or is there somebody or someone who can help me to get through this? And so when you know the boundaries and when you know that there is areas that, you can't meet, all you need to do is communicate and connect with people. Now, again, I'm going to ask you, of course, what action will you take in this value of boundaries to set clearer boundaries, or to expect more boundaries? But what actions will you set? Who do you know you need to work with, whether it's in your family or in your friend circle or at work? Who do you know that you can take a simple action step to clearly express and explain and ask about the boundaries that they have set or you have set? So when are you going to do that? Who are you going to do this with, and how are you going to do that? But do this today or tomorrow. Write it down as a clear action step for yourself, and then celebrate when you have success in setting better boundaries and in finding that boundaries from other people, but in understanding each other. Because when we understand each other clearly, we will have no confrontation, we will have no lack of confidence, we have no conflict, because everything is clear and precise and open. But we have to have the power to say no. You know who I am, you know who you are, and but do it in a nice possible way, but don't let it all get to you. Don't sit there at 10 o'clock at night when it's not necessary. The value of boundaries has clear values in each and every life. So set boundaries, expect boundaries from others, communicate it clearly, and I will see you in the next value. Take care.